Right, we're back on the bench with the Salvo BRN-180, and I'm going to try and take this to an evening game tomorrow at HC2, but there's a couple of things we need to do. So we obviously need to get the power under control. I'm not going to be changing anything in terms of performance parts, barrel hot rubbers, anything like that. But what we are going to be doing is shoving an impasse in there, try and fix out the leaky back end of the bolt, which I think will be an easy thing to do. So we're going to crack straight into it. First I just took the bolt out, very easy to do on the BRN-180. We can take these two screws, the bigger screws, out on the top. Now the front one is of a substantial size, but the screws to the rear are extremely short. So you've hardly got any threads on there whatsoever compared to the other one. But hopefully it's good enough. We can take this off now. Unlike other MWS replicas and clones, you can only put the spring in the top. With these, it's a bit more difficult. You have to sort of extract it from the bottom. And I've seen people do this on MWSs, which makes no sense, but on the BRN-180, you have to. So we can take that off. We can slide this assembly forward and remove the top piece. And then we can remove this little plastic retainer which holds the back of the nozzle in there. Once we've got this out, it's very easy. We've got a little screw on the top, so let's get a nice screwdriver out so we can do this properly. And we're basically just going to extract this screw, much like the MCXs that Salvo do, and of course the double eagle models, MWSs, it's all the same, one screw, and that should enable us to pull this out. Now the problem with the bolts is you've got this section that comes through the back of the bolt here, which holds your nozzle spring. You've got a little O-ring on there to seal it, but usually you have to pull these with even a slightest bit of force, and then you can slide the retaining clip down, and that's what kind of holds the O-ring in place, sealing the back of the bolt. Now on this one it's really loose, so you're not getting any seal. So what we want to do is we're going to extract the valve. Got something to push in there, like that. Take one of these impasses, and we're going to throw this in there. Usually, like 99% of the time with the Salvos and the double eagles, these just go straight in. Rare cases you may have to file them down, and this one, as we'll see, just pops straight in there and it can move freely. If you want to test it, basically what you want to do is we push the valve in. Oh, it actually looks like it might be sticking there, so this is a good example. So you can see, I can remove this piece at the back actually, so this might be easy to demonstrate. The valve will push in. Oh, this one's fine. So what you'll find sometimes is these valves can get a little bit sticky, and it's just a tolerance thing with the nozzles, where some of them are a little bit tighter for some reason, but most of them are like this now. It could also be a case of people having residual stock of the old version of the valves before they were slightly tweaked to make this a better fit in the clones. But most guns I try now work absolutely fine. So we line that up so we can see through the hole in the nozzle. We put our screw back in the top. Screw this down here, nice and easy to do. And that's our impasse installed. Now before you do this, you can grease the spring up. Honestly, it doesn't matter all that much. You could just pull your spring out like this if you want to. And we're going to need a grease pen. Do I have one? I think this is a grease pen here. And we're basically just pulling this section out like that. And what we want to do is we're just going to load up this spring with some grease. And what this is going to do, it's going to stop the spring resonating as you fire or rack the gun, and you get that horrible spring twang noise. You just want to load this spring up with some grease. It's not going to hurt it in any way. It's just going to add a little bit of compound between the spring coils and stop you getting that horrendous noise. So once we've done that, we can also just put a bit of grease around that seal where I've had my hand around it, might have dried it out a little bit. We can load this back into the bolt, like so. And then this is where we would pull this part out and put in your retainer. And then you'll see that this is loose. Now the way that I'm going to be combating this is you can go on Amazon and you can get some of these, what they call E-clips or retaining rings. Loads of different words for it, E-clips, C-clips. I usually call these E-clips. You get a bunch of assortment ones. I think M4 is going to be the size. So there's loads of different branded ones of these you can get on Amazon. They're very cheap, but it's always good. It's a good thing to have. Just going to make sure they're the same thickness, because sometimes you get them, they're thicker than others. But it's good to have for instances like this. It's a very inexpensive parts kit to put in your toolbox. You know, it's a couple of quid, but every time you need one, it saves you going online having to try and search one. So hopefully what we can do is, and we will have to take this E-clip back off if we want to pull the bolt apart, and we're just going to pull this retaining piece up, and then I'm going to be sliding this in behind that piece. So hopefully this goes to plan like that. Very, very simple modification. That part is now nice and tight, sealing the back end, and I think it's just Salvo really did make a mistake with this. Of course, if we want to take the bolt apart, we pull that retaining thing out, but we just have to pull this E-clip off first. But it's going to give it a nice solid fixture there. It's not moving about. It's going to pull that O-ring to seal the back of the bolt, and we're having a good time. So now that's in, I'm going to pop the top piece back on by just pulling the nozzle out, and then we want to slide this in the front of the bolt here. Just get the angle right here, and this is going to hold your nozzle nice and straight. So we're just pulling that over the top pieces of the bolt. It comes down. Now what we want to do is, it might be hard to see on camera, so I apologise. We're just going to pop the spring in that little cavity where it goes, and then what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to push this spring down so it sits in that cavity like that, so that when we push this forward, it's under spring tension. Easy as that, eh? I will of course be doing some upgraded screws for these, because I never like these cheap screws on the top of the bolts. So we'll screw these in here. Whenever you're screwing anything onto the top of a bolt, whether it be an MWS, a Ghetto Blaster, you know, a Double Eagle M4, the MCXs, just check when you screw these in, because sometimes what you can do is you can over torque them, and they'll grab this plastic piece at the top and they'll hold it like it sticks. So I'm just going to slightly torque them up there. You see how it's a little bit sticky? I'm just going to back it off like the fraction of a turn, just to make it sure it's got a nice smooth movement. So that's our bolt done. We can obviously put our recoil bits here, and with that E-clip on there, with this fully compressed, it's not interfering with the buffer at the back, so that should be good. I'm not going to touch the barrel hop because I want to get this on the long range tests before we mess with it. That's obviously the standard valve. Keep it as your spares. We've got tons of them. And we're basically just going to pop this back together. Very easy to work on. No, we're not, because we need to put the charging handle in. So the charging handle on these are a massive complaint of mine, because they are apparently loose on the real one. It's just, it doesn't feel great, but I will need to Loctite this handle on, because every time I'm using it, it comes loose. So these are loose, and that's just how they are. works fine. Just I find that as I'm using it, I'm turning this off, so I'm going to Loctite that on nice and tight because I never need to remove it. And there we have it. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our mag, and we're going to whack this through the chrono. I'm going to do this on 0.3s to demonstrate. Now when I go to the game tomorrow, I'll be using 2.5s, so before I go I'll re-chrono it on 2.5s. But see what it's doing here. So we're set to 0.3s. And you can see at the standard power we're doing 1.7 joules there. This is slightly wound in on the end pass, but not far enough. So we'll just quickly pull the bolt out. I'm going to use a 1.5mm Allen key. We're just going to give it half a turn, see where we're at, and we're just going to basically guide this into where we want it. So we're going to put a couple of more shots through. Come down a little bit, we're still at 1.7, so we can pull it back out. With these BRNs, they're very easy to do. So we're going to do, what you'll find is so with some of these guns you can find that you'll do an adjustment, maybe like when they've been done and put in the packet, the grub screw hasn't been tightened all the way to like the 0 point. So we're just going to wind this in here till I see it move. There we go. We might have gone too far, but that's okay. So, and we're just going to walk this in. So it's a bit of a laborious task, but it's better to be on the safe side, especially when you're setting your guns up, going to a game. You don't want to be caught out and doing this on the day. So you see we've dropped half a joule there. So we're on the right track, we're at 1.2. Again, we'll just pull it out real quick. I'm going to leave this all in the video just so you see my process. It's very straightforward. So we'll get this on here. This gun does shoot warmer than other models that I've witnessed, like the Salvo MCXs and the Double Eagle line of Ghetto Blaster and the M4s and such. This BRN seems to be on the higher side of the power, but nice to know. Probably gone a little bit too far there, but we're at 0.8 joules, so I just come back a little turn. But yeah, the salvos seem to come in a little bit warmer than the rest. So again, now if you're using like a normal M4, this is going to be much easier for you because you pop the receiver, you whip your bolt out, you haven't got to deal with the guide rings, the spring guides, or the charging handle that goes in there. So we're just going to walk it back a tad. So yeah, if you're using a normal M4, it's going to be much easier. People always ask me, what should I buy? Should I get, a Ghetto Blaster? Should I get a Double Eagle M4? Or should I go for the Salvo MCXs? Or even something like this? And ease of use, you want to pick an M4 model. Even the Ghetto Blaster is a good choice. The MCXs and stuff like this, a little bit off spec. So you see now we're at 1.15 on a 3. Usually outdoor sites like 6mm and stuff will have a 1.14 joule limit, but we'll just rinse this mag off. There's one around there. So I will come back in tomorrow before I head to the evening game, and of course just chrono it on 2.5s, make sure I'm okay, I did see some wacky comment in a Discord group because, unfortunately, I'm one of them people that a lot of people like to talk shit about. But I saw this comment from another parts producer, shall we say, one who's been very loud lately, and he was saying that in my videos, if I was shooting, he said if I was shooting at 1 joule on a 0.3, I would be shooting 2 joules on a 0.4. And this is someone that makes parts and makes out the best thing ever. No hate towards them at all. It's just don't believe everything that you read. That's not true. I'm not going to double my power from going from a 0.3 to a 0.4. Will you get joule creep? Yes, you might get a little bit. There's so many different factors that rely on it. But, you know, telling people that you're going to double your joule output from going from a 0.3 to a 0.4 is just preposterous. And honestly, if you see people saying that, to me, I wouldn't be trusting anything they say. But on this one, I'm going to be testing this out. This is a Holy Warrior. This is an S1. So it does come with a little multicam cover kit there. We've got all the bits and pieces. This was bought from Spec Precision. Bits and pieces there. Some stickers I'm not too worried about. I have already had this out. And here's the S1. It does come with, the S1s do come with a little polycarbonate like protector. But I've gone with a little bit nicer of a kill flash here. To be honest, I was expecting much greater quality from these S1s because people rave about them. And it is better than like some of the others that I bought, but it's not like worlds of difference. But I'm going to be trying this out. It's got nice clicks on the adjustment. It's apparently got NV capability as well, so we'll be giving this a go. So the Salvo is the one that's going to be getting this S1 treatment. So can I whack it on here? A bit loose, so what we do, we'll tighten this up. Now we do need to be cautious of where the charging handle is, because when we're using the Salvo BRN, we need to get to the charging handle, and as you'll see there, the red dot is kind of in the way. So we either need to mount it more forward, which looks daft, or we need to come back, which again, we might have an issue where we're catching our fingers. So I think at some point there's going to be on the cards of doing like a different charging handle for this, which is a little bit easier. It's not actually that bad. I am going to wind this adjuster in a little bit more though. There we are. So I've got a red dot. It looks kind of big on this, doesn't it? It might actually not suit it. Maybe we don't put this on there. I am undecided on what I'm going to put on here. Now, I do like these little FC ones. This is a copy one. They're the cheap ones you get off like Amazon and eBay and other places like that, AliExpress. But they're usually pretty good because, and the reason why I like these, just remembering which way this goes on, is they're very small. So they're very out the way. It's a nice little optic. I'll probably play around with it before the game tomorrow. I'll have to be putting I need to put a tracer unit on this, of course. I'm going to be putting a Difrico Kung Fu. I'm going to rub one off my scar. Might nick the Tiger Claw as well. I'm going to have to put a torch on this too. So while I spec the rest of this up, I'm not going to, you know, drag you along because we're at 20 minutes already. But if you're looking to fit an MPass in these things, it's very easy. Getting them under control power-wise, very easy if you bought it from Asia, because I imagine these haven't hit the UK shores yet. But indications from this so far seem to be fairly positive, but we're going to give it a go tomorrow, put a run through its money. I'm not sure what I'm going to take as a backup gun. I was thinking either we'll take the Double Eagle Mark 18, or I really want to get some game playing with that SPC9. So thanks for tuning in. Just mucking about with the BRN, getting it set up ready. Getting it UK legal, of course, very important. And now I need to put some accessories on this and see. I was very convinced that the S1 was going to be a good fit, but I think it's just too bulky. So I'm going to have a play around with some dots and stuff like that. Thanks for tuning in as always. And from me and Bench, we'll be seeing you in the next one.